It's Principal Science here. Time for episode 11 of Principal Science. I have some great things today. We're going to read one of my favorite books by one of my favorite all-time authors. Well, I have two favorite all-time authors, so it might be from Kelvin. It might be from Robert Munch. You will find out. Also, we're going to talk about Newton's third law of motion. More vocabulary. It's going to be a great episode 11 of Principal Science. So great to see you, my friends. Happy Monday.
Did you know Hawaii, the island of Hawaii, is moving towards Japan at the speed of 10 centimeters a year? This is because they are on different tectonic plates. What's a tectonic plate? That might be something to look into. Did you know?
Scientists say Kelvin. This is a temperature scale that is often used in the physical sciences. Units of Kelvin are the same size as units on the Celsius temperature scale, but 18 degrees Celsius is equal to 291 kelvins. Why is that? The Celsius scale is based on the freezing point of water, which is set at 0 degrees. The 0 point of Kelvin, though, is based on absolute zero, the lowest possible temperature at which no molecule can move. Now that's cold.
On this day, in 1940, the first U.S. Electron microscope was demonstrated in Philadelphia. It was able to produce a magnification of 100,000 times. 100,000 times you could, wow, that is amazing. Magnify something 100,000 times. Well, that happened on this day in 1940.
Time for a little brain science with Principal Science. You have ants in your brain. You do. Ants are automatic negative thoughts. Everyone has them at times. So when something starts happening, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to fail the test, or oh my gosh, no one likes me, or oh, I can't do this, this is too hard. It's just natural that you do that. But the first step is to realize those are there. And the second is to go, you know what? I am smart. I do have friends. I can do this. So turn that ant around into a positive instead of a negative. Instead of thinking I can't, think I can. Because, you know, my dad said to me this once, he said, you know, you are American, not an Americant. So think about that and turn your ants around and use the power of positive thinking. All right, that's Principal Science's Brain Science.
Sheila Ray the Brave by Kevin Hinckus. Sheila Ray wasn't afraid of anything. She wasn't afraid of the dark. She wasn't afraid of thunder and lightning. And she wasn't afraid of the big black dog at the end of the block. At dinner, Sheila Ray may believe that the cherries in her fruit cocktail were the eyes of dead bears, and she ate 5 of them. At school, Sheila Ray giggled when the principal walked by. Well, he's certainly scary. Principals are always scary. And when her classmate Wendell stole her jump rope during recess, Sheila Ray tied him up until the bell rang. I'm very brave, Sheila Ray said, patting herself on the back. Yeah, we shouldn't tie people up with jump ropes. Sheila Ray stepped on every crack in the sidewalk and wasn't as afraid. When her sister Louise said there was a monster in the closet, Sheila Ray attacked it. And she rode her bike no-handed with her eyes closed. Yay, yay, Sheila Ray, her friends yelled, clapping their hands. One day, Sheila Ray decided to walk home from school a new way. Louise was afraid too. You're too brave for me, Louise said. You're always such a scaredy cat, Sheila Ray called. Am not, whispered Louise. Sheila Ray started off skipping. I'm brave, she sang. I'm fearless. She stepped on every crack. She walked backwards with her eyes closed. She growled at stray dogs and bared her teeth at stray cats. And she pretended that the tree were evil creatures. She climbed up with them and broke their fingers off. Snap, snap, snap. I don't know, going home a different way is not wise. Sheila Ray walked and walked. She turned corners, she crossed streets. It suddenly occurred to Sheila Ray that nothing looked familiar. Sheila Ray heard frightening noises that sounded worse than thunder, and she thought horrible thoughts. They were worse than anything she had ever imagined. I am brave, Sheila Ray tried to convince herself. I'm fearless? The sounds became more frightening. The thoughts became more horrible. Sheila Ray sat down on a rock and cried. Help, she sniffed. She thought of her mother and father and Louise. Mother, Father, Louise, she cried. Have you noticed that Louise has been following the whole way? I did. Here I am, a voice said. Louise, Sheila Ray hugged her sister. We're lost, Sheila Ray said. No, we're not, said Louise. I know the way home. Follow me. She is so lucky Louise followed her. Louise stepped on every crack. She walked backwards with her eyes closed. She growled at stray dogs and bared her teeth at stray cats. And she pretended that the trees were evil creatures. She jumped up and broke off their fingers. Snap, snap, snap. Sheila Ray walked quietly behind her. They walked and walked. They crossed streets. They turned corners. Soon, their house could be seen between the trees, and Sheila Ray grabbed Louise and dashed up the street. When they reached their own yard and the gate was closed behind them, Sheila Ray said, Louise, you are brave. You are fearless. We both are, said Louise, and they walked backwards into the house with their eyes closed. All right, Scorpions, I encourage you to always be brave, but don't be foolish. And when you go somewhere, it's always best to go with a friend. I miss you, friends. Our scientist of the day is an oldie, but a goodie. Omar Khayyam lived from 1048 to 1131. He was a poet, a philosopher, and a scientist. Khayyam calculated the length of year to be the most accurate value ever. So prior to that, there was really no time to calculate the year, days, and that. So he calculated using the rotation of the earth, angles of the sun, to determine the exact length of a year. And that was Omar Khayyam.
Science principle, Newton's third law. And as we go on in the week, I'm going to demonstrate some of Newton's laws and see how they work and demonstrate those and have some fun with that. So enjoy and learn about Newton's third law of motion.
Motion says that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. If you exert a force on an object, it exerts an equal force back on you. For example, a ball hitting the ground exerts force downward. The floor exerts an equal force upward. This is the principle that allows rockets to launch or jellyfish to swim. By exerting a force downward, an equal and opposite force pushes upward, and the object accelerates. We can also see the third law in action when birds fly. Their wings press down against the air. The air pushes up against their wings, allowing them to move upwards. Another good example of this law is skateboarding. The skater pushes backwards against the ground with their foot. The ground pushes forward with equal force. Since the wheels of the skateboard reduce the friction between the person and the ground, they are able to move forward for some time before forces slow them down again. Although these three laws were written down more than 300 years ago, they are still important now for understanding the way things move and represent the foundation of classical mechanics. I hope you enjoyed learning about Newton's three laws of motion today.
That's the end of episode 11. I got to tell you, Newton, really smart dude. Well, hey, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Ta-ta for now.